What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? I want to say big ups to my video land that comes on at 9 o'clock with me every day to get some nuggets here. This is your girl Knowledge by Nikki with 1K. And I got a good one today, y'all. I got a good one. Boy, do I have a good one. And I actually was trying to figure out how did I make it so long? Because I got so much I want to say. But I talked about yesterday, guys, the difference in a problem and a predicament. That's what I talked about yesterday. I want to talk about today the entire concept of change. We are in a time period right now in this world where our world has changed unlike anything I thought I would ever see in my lifetime. I'll be 51 in 2 months, or is it 2 months? And I could not have even, with my very forward-thinking mindset, I couldn't have imagined that the world would be forced to change at the level that it has. So let me talk a little bit about what I have struggled with, but I now understand. Now, I am a change agent. I actually am the founder of Aspire, which is an acronym. It's a coaching group, and it's an acronym stating or meaning ambitious, self-employed professionals investing in real entrepreneurship. So the simple version is I take people who have passions and they've started their business based off of these passions, and now they're in a position where they have to learn system structure, how to take these passions and make them profitable businesses. That is where I come in. I come in to help them transfer that passion into more productivity and understanding the difference. So I kind of call it the change from the right brain to the left brain, so to speak. Okay? That's what I do. So I am a change agent. I started my Aspire group out of the call, because it was a call, y'all, because I ran from it for a long time. I was like, I ain't going to be able to do this. I ain't going to be able to coach because I don't know what that means to people. That mean they're going to call me every day? What does that mean? So I ran from it for years until God said, okay, it's time. And it has been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. But this is where I'm going with this. I'm naturally a change agent. Change, I don't struggle with at all. I don't care how extreme the change is. I don't care how quick I got to make the change. It's never been a struggle for me. But let me tell you what I did struggle with. And so I had to do a deep dive, and I've actually went through a real coaching program which taught me how to better understand people, and I've taken webinars on, people management, and all of these things have taught me why people see change differently. And it helped me with the struggles I was having with people who I was trying to coach and get them to, think differently and do differently. And I'm like, what is so hard about, and I'm talking about people in terrible situations and they still won't move. So let me tell you what I've learned. And so I did some homework on this one, y'all. So this ain't not just pulled out of my hat, but I realized that change is defined differently by different people. That's the first thing I had to come to understand is, what does change mean to different people? Because it does not mean the same thing to everybody. And that was the first thing I had to accept. So let me first define, just Wikipedia, what change means. Change is simple. It's to make or become different. That's it. That's all it is. A thing, a mindset, a direction, it doesn't matter. It's just to make or become something different. That's all it is, guys. What I realized, though, is that making or becoming something different is literally the thing that for some can almost send them into a nervous breakdown. The anxiety that certain people have when they have to change, or when they're forced to change, is literally life altering. And I don't mean in a good way for some. So let me tell you what I've learned in my studies and in my trainings about change. People define or look at change in one or two ways. And it's simple. Certain people look at change as lack of stability, meaning if something is changing, is creating instability with me, it's changing my stability, is messing up my comfort, it's saying something bad about that I'm in this purgatory, and I'm not quite over here, over there, or I thought I had this thing set, and now all of a sudden I got to change this, and now my stability is rocked, and I ain't liking this a lot. And honestly, guys, that's the majority of the world, okay? Then let's take the other group, and I call this, maybe, I won't say 1%ers, but I'll say maybe 4%ers. Let's take them. The other aspect that people look at change in, and this is a whole different group of people, whole different mindset, is the opportunity for growth. Some people, when change happens, they actually get excited, like, oh, okay, maybe now I can do this, or maybe I can go into that, something I want to do anyway. Okay, they look at it as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to stretch, an opportunity to maybe not do something they didn't want to do anyway. They just didn't know how to stop. They look at it as a positive opportunity for doing something differently, which is what change is. Now, the things that differ in people's lives as to how they represent those feelings. One craves stability. The other one sees it as, one says that it creates instability. The other one sees it as an opportunity for growth. So let me tell you what happens. This is the difference. The person that is forced into change, like right now, and the person that to them is just put them in an unstable situation. And I'm not talking about the extremes of losing jobs and even that to a person that looks at growth as an opportunity. I've talked to many that have lost jobs, and they say, you know what, look, I wanted to start this other business anyway, and I never would have quit that job, so now I can go ahead and do what I wanted to do. It's really the difference in looking at the glass half empty and half full. But let me break down a little further what I've learned about it. If you are a person that anything that puts you in a situation where you got to change, you feel like it's just messing up your stability, you're also going to be a person, these people, these are their characteristics. They fight change, and I mean they fight it hard. They fight it. I don't care if the options they have are not there. They will fight it tooth and nail. Why this had to happen? I mean, they will fight it regardless of how apparent it is that whatever they want to happen is not going to happen. They will fight it. They will become chronic complainers of things that they can do absolutely, positively nothing about. And this is what you'll have to hear. Or this, if this is you, I'm talking to you. People who crave stability in the midst of uncontrollable change will constantly complain even though they can't do nothing about it, because to them it messes up their comfortability. They also overanalyze situations, meaning if you're in a situation and maybe you've been put in, like now, put in a situation where you got to change and you have opportunities of what you can do that are before you, you'll overanalyze these opportunities because you allow your fear to take over. And people who crave stability and fear change also fear failure. They look at failure as a negative. They look at failure as, oh my God, I messed up. What's going to happen if I mess up? People in this particular mindset are overconsumed by what others think of their decisions. They're overconsumed by what others will perceive them as if they make a decision in the midst of change and it doesn't work. They are also typically not very secure within their own abilities. So changing and being forced to change becomes literally a period where they almost suffer like anxiety, like nervous breakdown, because they are put in a position that has rocked what they crave most, which is stability. That's all they want. They don't want all these hiccups and hurdles, and they just want stability. They just want comfort. They just want things to get to a place, stay that way, and don't change from that. And this is something I had to learn because I coach people with this mindset. So I had to learn how to get them to change. They also have a difficult time with people and things, even if they hinder their productivity, even if they make it where it's more difficult for them to keep pushing and doing something they really want to do. They struggle with cutting these people off. They struggle with stopping some of the practices that they have, or going to certain places, or doing certain things. They struggle with this because basically they're not going to assume any risk. Risk are the complete opposite of stability. You cannot have them both at any point in time. If you're going to take a risk, you're going to upset or interrupt your stability. And what I find is that change becomes represented in this fashion by people that stability is all they want. Just let's get stable, and let's just stay here, and let's just be good. We ain't got to rock the boat. We don't have to do anything. And let me give you an interesting example too. And this is something that's definitely cultural. My culture, black people. Let me tell you what's amazing. If you go to a reunion, or if you go see your family members, maybe it's a group of friends you haven't seen for a while, it is amazing to me how, if you have in your mind elevated or done something differently, because that's all change is to make different, and in your mind you're in a good place, but how do we perceive when you go to these places? Maybe somebody hasn't seen or talked to you in a while, and they'll say something like, wow, you've changed. And the funny part about it, when they say you've changed, 99% of the times they do not mean it in a positive way. We actually would rather someone say, girl, you're the same person. You're the same person you always been, as opposed to you've changed. We think to say you've changed means something negative, as opposed to saying, if you say I'm still the same, that's something negative. Because if you ain't seen or talked to me in 10 years, I should not be the same. I should have grown. Something about me should have changed. Something about me should be better, should be different. I shouldn't be the same person. But we don't look at it that way. People that crave stability want it to always be even. They want it to always be the same, or for them, this ain't working, okay? And I've had to learn how to understand, because I'm the complete opposite. So I've had to learn how to understand why some people, especially now, are really having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, nervous breakdowns, taking more pills than ever before. And I'm not talking about people that have been put in extreme situations where they don't have jobs. I'm talking about people. I got people still working, ain't missed a beat, but they got to work from home, and they about to lose their minds because they got to work from home. And that's the only major change that they've had, and they're losing it. And I'm like, if that's all you got to worry about, you okay. You're really okay. But it's rocked. That stability, that routine that you get in your car, you get up at 5 and you get in your car at 7:30 and you drive to work for 40 minutes, and you get there and you sit at your desk and you talk to the same people in person every day, and you go to lunch at the same time, and you leave work and you go wherever you go, and then you go home, and that routine has been interrupted, and it's rocked your boat, and you can't handle, because in your mind, your stability doesn't exist anymore. Okay, now let me talk about the other people. The people that look at it as the glass half full and it's an opportunity for growth. They actually love change, and they look at it like, oh, okay, it's the opportunity to try something new. Let's see what happens. They don't trip about it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't cost them anything, and they don't necessarily like the things that it cost them, but they don't lose sleep over it. They look at it as an opportunity to grow, or to try something new, or to go somewhere you haven't done, or let's see how this works. And it's just a whole different mindset. They also analyze things very quickly. And let me tell you why people who look at change, even forced change, as an opportunity for growth, is they analyze it quickly, and they just, as Nike says, they just do it because they don't fear failing. They don't fear if it doesn't work. If it don't work, you just do something different. I think about people go to a new restaurant and they're scared to try a new dish. If you don't like it, just send it back. If you don't like it, don't eat it again. There are people who will not even try a new dish. They'll go to a restaurant, spend ridiculous amounts of money, and will eat the same thing over and over again, when if you don't like it, you can taste it and send it back, and they'll bring you something else. People who crave stability won't even change in small circumstances like that. So the people with the opportunity for growth, they look at it as, if it doesn't work, Oh, well, I'll do something different. They don't look at failure as the last option. They don't look at, oh, God, they don't even look at it as failing. They just look at it like it didn't work. Do something else. My ex-mother-in-law used to use a statement that I love, and I stole it from her, and I say it all the time. She said, if God didn't think we was going to mess up, he wouldn't have put erasers on pencils. There's a reason they make erasers. If we wasn't never going to make no mistakes and wasn't going to never have to start over, we don't need an eraser created. We don't need an eraser on a pencil. We don't need it. Matter of fact, I remember when they started making full erasers where you can just have a bigger eraser than you do a pencil, because you're going to make more mistakes than the things that you actually write down. And guess what, guys? You erase it and you write the page all over again, write the book all over again. This is how people see change, that look at it as an opportunity for growth. People who also see change, even forced change, as an opportunity for growth are willing to take the risk. They're willing to, as they say, bet it all on black. Now, let me put full disclaimer out there. I used to be one of those people, and I'm still a risk taker, but I used to be one of those people that took very uncalculated risk. Now, I will tell you, I'm too old to take uncalculated risks. When I take risks now, I don't have to think as long as most people, but I think them through. I usually think them in advance of when I'm gonna actually do them, but I don't overanalyze. People, if you overanalyze, you will talk yourself into something and talk yourself right out of it. Okay? People who are willing to take risk, as you get older, you will take more calculated risks, but you will still take them. And people who look at change, forced change as an opportunity for growth will still take risk. They'll just calculate them more. They also are not as concerned about people's opinions of their risk. Doesn't mean we don't care. What I find in my coaching, and me now having the privilege, because it is a privilege to be able to get into the minds of so many people and learn how people work. I look at it as people who do this, they actually do care about what people think, but they only care about what certain people think. They don't care about just everybody. They have a select few that they go to as their confidants, as their voices of reason, as their sounding boards, whatever you want to call it. And those people, they observe what they say and what they think closely. But guess what? People who look at it as an opportunity for growth, they still do not ultimately make their decision, not even based off of those people. They listen, they take it in, they say, let me analyze this, let me assess what the people I care about have put before me, and they still will make a decision at times that is against even what some of the people they trust think. They still, they beat to their own drum. People that like opportunities for growth, they realize that when it comes to growing, sometimes it's instinctual. You cannot explain your instincts to everybody. You sometimes have to go for it, even when people you value don't understand it. And I find that people that look at change as an opportunity for growth, they seem to rest more in these type of behaviors. They really say, you know what? I know y'all think I shouldn't do this, but I really feel good about it. And even though I value what you all say, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Okay? And these are some of the things that I find are what we're all faced with right now. Those of you all that are literally, you fighting this change like you fighting the air. You can't fight the air. It's going to blow the way it's going to blow. It's going to move the way it's going to move. And I understand that these are also natural traits of different individuals, but they can be cultivated. Meaning, even if you're a person that craves stability and it really makes you upset and you're like, I can't handle all this instability, mask this day, no mask. You know, now we have it in Illinois where you even have to wear a mask even if you're sitting outside, or you won't be allowed to get served. And so it's another change. So people are fighting that. I heard it all this morning. Why, if I'm sitting outside with my loved one, I got to put a mask on and this, and that, and the other. If I'm sitting here and I'm outside. So again, fighting change. Fighting change. There's nothing you can do about it. Either you're going to sit there and put a mask on if you're outside, or you won't get served. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. This is something that we all need to sit back and analyze our position. Analyze yourself. I can't tell you who you are. I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. But what I can say is, if you crave stability and your world and your mind is not right unless everything is even and stable and there are no shifts and we ain't going forward, we ain't going backwards, we go in neutral. Let's just stay in neutral. That means you don't move at all. You are really fighting. You having a hard time right now. You having a real hard time right now because every day is something new. If you love traveling and they all of a sudden say you can't go here, what you going to do? You going to cry about it? Or you going to figure out another way? You better, if you want to travel, you better rent an RV. You better get in a car. You just got to do it. But you're going to have to change. For all of my entrepreneurs that I love you. I love everything about small business. I don't care what kind of business it is. I'm going to give you an example. There was actually she wasn't a full coachee, but she was a person that I knew, and she came to me just and paid me just for like a temporary fix or assessment of her business and to help her. She was in a situation where she was in an open concept salon and she was totally anti-sweet. She hates sweets, hate them, just hate even the conversation about salon sweets. So this was the interesting part. COVID-19 hit. Here she is now. She got a salon that's got a $6,000 a month rent lease to pay. So, of course, workers didn't want to pay because they feel like they shouldn't pay. So her landlord still want her money, whether it's now or later. I still want my money. So this is a person that's got the space. We're talking $6,000 a month, and we're talking maybe about 5,000 square feet. So we're not talking about no small place. I had to really convince her, and this is a person that craves stability, that all they want is stable, get these workers back in here, and we be fine, and that's it. I told her no. I said, first of all, I need you to understand something. Some of these workers ain't coming back. I need you to understand that. She didn't believe me. I said, okay. Some of them ain't coming back. They won't be able to afford to pay you back and be able to pay all of whatever bills they weren't able to pay because they weren't making money. They in the hole. They was in the hole before it happened. And now they really in the hole. They're not coming back. Subsequently, she did lose about 50% of her workers. She had about 12. Now she's got about 5. But this is the thing I had to convince her to do. I said, I know you hate sweets. I know you hate them. I know. Even me bringing this up to you is something you really don't want to hear. But hear me when I say this. There are many different types of sweets. I'm not telling you you may need to go to a totally private suite situation. But if you, and this, she started accepting after workers started texting her. They didn't even call her and saying, I ain't going to be able to come back. When they found out the day they could reopen, I ain't going to be able to come back. So she was like, are you serious? She was like, you're right. I'm only going to have about 50% tenancy. When they come back, it's all booth rentals. So I convinced her. I got her to do it. Now, I'm a person I'm big on not having a lot of debt, but she didn't have any lines of credit because she's working with me to build business lines of credit. But she did have a credit card that had a substantial limit on it. I said, let me tell you, I'm not big on creating debt, but this is good debt I'm going to tell you to create. I need you to get a contractor. I'll help you. I'll help you find a good contractor, somebody that's licensed because we don't need no issues with this village, but somebody that's cheap. I said, I don't even care if we have to get somebody that can work under somebody's license, whatever we got to do. I need you to cubicleize these stations, which means you got room for 12, I think. It's going to cut it down to about 8. I need you to turn this into semi-private suites. Semi-private. That means you can have the best of both worlds. They got a community dryer area, community shampoo area, no wall, no fronts, just walls on the side. I told her, don't make the walls go all the way up. Only make the walls go about 9 inches from the ceiling, because then you won't have issues with the village trying to make you change the ventilation system, because they'll be in total boxes. All you do, don't put no electrical in the wall. Don't put none of that, because then you're going to have the village wanting to make sure you do the electrical right. They're going to want metal studs over wood. I told her, I know that game. Just look, say you and your brother did it. Matter of fact, get some wood, get some drywall, put some cubicle walls up, get some cabinets, and make these like studios where they got their own cabinetry, and going to spend a little money. She ended up spending probably about 30 grand. Okay, she had a car that could support that. She spent 30 grand. She turned those 12 suites into 8. She only got 50% coming back. She gave the girls that were already there, because now they're semi-private suites. You got kind of this personal space, even though there's no front on it, so people can still talk and walk past and, hey girl. So you got the best of both worlds. Still the traditional salon feel, but now people were naturally territorial. We got our own space. Ain't nobody got no business in here unless I invite you in. She got locks on the cabinets. It becomes their space. I told her if people want a sense of privacy, just put a tension rod up there with a real nice curtain that you can pull back. If you want to spend a little more money, get some flat track doors. They got ceiling tracks. You can pull them. They don't even have to lock. You ain't got to do all that, right? Let me tell you what happened. Those 6 workers actually were thinking that were coming back, were already thinking about going into suites. So they were willing to come back now because it's cubicalized. You can charge more money. So her rent went from, I'm guessing because I can't remember. I got so many people's rents in my head, but I think it went from like $150 to like $225 a week. $225 a week. Guess what? Those 6 workers were willing to pay the $225 a week. They feel they was happy. They like, I got my own spot, my own suite. They filled up those 6 weeks. They paid for the ones that left. And the 2 she had left, she had a waiting list. She filled them right away. As soon as they opened back up, I said, see there? Change ain't really that bad. And now she's doing great. She's fine. And this was a person that fought me tooth and nail about change, about I hate suites. I ain't doing that. I said, look, let me tell you something. Do you hate suites more than you hate having to eat $6 grand a month with nobody in here to pay it? Which do you hate more? And then for her to find out that the workers that were even coming back were looking, they were thinking about later leaving and going to suites. She would have been devastated. So I had to get her to understanding that, baby, let me tell you something. COVID then threw a wrench in the game for everybody. And you gonna have to, that stability, you gonna have to just do it. I'm telling you what, I know this will work. You got an open credit card. We got some people. Matter of fact, she really was supposed to spend about $50,000 for what she did. But I also was able to get her, and if y'all join my groups, I'll be able to share all this stuff with you. But I also was able to get her a $10,000 vendor loan that she didn't even have to use at all. Just sitting there in the kitty. She can use whenever she want to use it. Okay? And it revolves. So this ain't no money you get one time. You get it, use it, get it, use it, put it back, get it, So I got her that for a little cushion. And she is just as happy as a lamb. So what has happened now is we've had the opportunity to be able to now show her that I don't think she'll ever be as much of a risk taker as me, but I was able to show her that forgoing your stability is not always a bad thing. And let me say this, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to embrace that the market changes, consumers change, people change, money changes, life changes, health changes, things change. And so the more and more you really are serious about your business growing, guess what? You're going to have to change too. All right? So that's all I got to say today, y'all. I got a 9:30 appointment and it's 9:23 and I need to get on in here. But I'm going to be talking all week about change, guys. Like I said, I'm a change agent. I don't have no problem with change. People that are around me that crave stability, I drive them absolutely insane. They think I'm just straight nuts. But guess what? The minute they want to change something and the minute they scared and they say, I need somebody to hold my hand through this, guess who they call? They call me. All right? So, knowledgebynikki.com. If you all are interested in me helping you with change, go on my website, knowledgebynikki with 1K. Hit me up in the email me and I'll send you a link. Maybe we can chomp it out. It is a fee for 90 minutes. You can talk to me and we can talk about your change. So this is Nikki Smith. I'm out. See you tomorrow.